Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Cordant and we're gonna continue our playthrough of Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. So, before we begin, I have to say something here which is very important. In the beginning video, or in the intro video, I had mentioned that I would not be playing this game with any mods, because it is the first time that I'm experiencing Pillars of Eternity 2. But I needed to install a very crucial mod. And the reason for that is, we have our hero here, but if you'll notice, there is something off about our character, because ever since his creation he has been mentioned as Tiny Mustache Man, but this man has no mustache. And the base game does not allow you to put facial hair on Orlands. So I had to install this mod here. Oh, I can't show it here. Oh, shame. But it's just a mod to add facial hair to all races. So now we can customize Mr. Tiny Mustache Man to have a proper mustache. Yes. So now, now he is complete. I was lying in bed last night and I was like, something's missing. Something's not right with my character. And this was it. Okay, so with that out of the way, we have some more enemies here in the way of a copper construct and 2 skeletons and the revenant. So if I remember right from yesterday, the revenant is weak to slashing, these guys are weak to bludgeoning, and very strong versus piercing, and this one I have no idea. And one thing that's very interesting, I was checking out my items here, is that the warbow, not only does he deal pierce damage, but he also deals slash damage. And I think he uses the best type given the enemy armor class. So, if we come across somebody that's, you know, very strong against piercing but weak against slashing, I guess the warbow could be a nice way to go around that. Let's begin. I am using my arquebus, he is using his warbow. Let me see if I can pull these guys. Well, not pull, let me see if I can just destroy some of these guys here. This one has a shield, this one does not look to have a shield, so I'm gonna start by killing this one off. And you can maybe try and slow this guy down, and Piggy will just wait. Nice, man, that's what I like to see. Okay, so shoot this one. We're gonna go for a crippling strike as well. Okay, he's been shot twice. He's nearly dead. Awesome. We're gonna swap to our tanking setup. We're gonna slow the game down because we have 2 revenants, not just one. So they're gonna go over there. Mr. Piggy is gonna wait. I don't want him to get focused. And I think I'm gonna swap my attention from my rogue to this construct, probably. Let me see, this guy has 7 armor, so he can properly pierce it. He is strong versus slashing and weak versus bludgeoning. Immune to fire and weak to lightning. And these guys are weak to slashing. Okay, so I should focus on this guy with my rogue, and I'm gonna use it there on those 2. And I also wonder, what kind of damage does my boar do? I think I'll have to see once we start fighting. Okay, so we're gonna focus on that guy. There is slashing this one. Okay, good dodge. It takes a long time to react. Let me move this a little bit faster. Ow. Okay, so Piggy has been revealed. So let's just go fight. Okay, that's 1 down. I missed, which sucks. I still don't want to position my Piggy in an improper way. Okay, there got interrupted, I believe. Okay. Mr. Piggy. Wait, why are you swapping targets, dude? Ah, I guess because of the armor class. Okay, so focus on this one and we're gonna flank it. He's flanked, good. And Mr. Piggy just dealt 19 damage, I believe. He deals slashing damage. Okay, cool. I'm still trying to work on this construct. Let me see if I can get a wounding shot over there. And you should actually heal. Okay, he takes decent damage from piercing. Mr. Piggy is tanking, which I don't like. I think the construct is starting to come after my rogue. Which, okay, never mind. He got blocked by it there and just stayed where he was. Good. Okay, I am gonna swap to my pistol because this takes a long time. This one is almost dead. Decent damage with the pistol. Good. Adair is being able to dodge properly. Good. He's still blocked. He cannot come to my rogue. That's what we want to see. Good. Keep dodging. Keep dodging. Good job, Mr. Piggy. Mr. Piggy, over there. So, we want to try and knock this guy down. Oops. So, knock him down. And let's try to get another wounding shot on the copper construct. We're gonna flank the Revenant. Awesome. Okay, good shot. He's actually rather weak right now. Oh, he's coming for me.
As you wish.
Let me see if I can engage with it there. See if he changes his mind. Yeah, okay. So given that he engaged with it there, he forgot about... not forgot. He gave up on the idea of going after my rogue. Awesome. Yeah, so he's not dealing damage because of the armor. But maybe like this, because the crippling strike has a bonus of 2 to penetration. He has 9 armor. 7, 9, okay. So the crippling strike will deal full damage, which is what we want. Mr. Piggy is holding on. Hey there, don't die. Good job, good job, good job. Okay, let's work on this guy now. Look, Mr. Piggy is doing a very nice job of tanking, actually. I don't think he's gonna tank like major enemies or anything like that, but he can tank these just fine. And the good thing about...
Oh. Doing out here by himself in a cave anyway, collecting his thoughts.
I'll take care.
Because one of the cool things about the boar is that he regenerates in combat, much like a fighter, which, you know, makes him a useful tank.
Keep it down. I'll see it done.
Okay, so what else we have?
That Vidar looks about as good as it smells at this point.
Ooh, a ring. Oh, a nice ring. Okay, take that. And let me see. I think in this game it doesn't matter if... I think... What I mean... Bleh. Let me restart. I think in this game you can always access your stash. Because the stash is right here. This is the personal inventory. But you can just freely take things from the stash. You don't need to rest. Which is cool. So this Ring of Minor Protection gives us a +5 to Fortitude, Reflex and Will. Which is very cool. And I think that's all that I want to give it there right now. Or maybe I could take this out and maybe use a Warhammer. This is a medium shield, medium shield. So this way I can have slashing damage and piercing damage. He doesn't really need the warbow at this point, I don't think. So I think we're fine. And maybe I'm gonna give the warbow to my rogue to test this out, because this way if something is very strong against piercing, and I did find some piercing immune enemies when I was testing out the starting areas of this game, the warbow can work around that, which is something that at the time I wasn't aware of. Okay, oh, this is our friend Beodul, and he has some traps around.
Damned pirates! Andra, take your scabrous souls for fish food.
Beodul, still alive and calling everybody scabrous, I see. Well, now we got a bosun. Just need a boat.
Yeah, boatswain. It's a very weird way of pronouncing this word, boatswain.
Adair! And I see that corpse we've been carting around is looking a sight more sprightly. Good to see the two of you, but mind your step. I've got myself in a spot of trouble.
I can see that.
Been trying to find a way past without losing a leg or getting a face full of poison.
Okay, we have a lot of options here. We have mechanics, I can take care of a few traps. Perception, I see them, I'll guide you through. This is bluff. You're afraid of a few snares, you coward. No wonder those pirates ran us aground. Intellect and sleight of hand. Set off the traps prematurely with a few heavy stones. Now, we're gonna go for mechanics.
Well, they sting something fierce, so mind yourself.
Because this should also give us some experience. Wow, really? It there has more mechanics than my rogue? Are you kidding? Well, he's also a rogue. Sorry. That makes sense, actually. Mechanics 1. Mechanics 1. Yeah, so it's the same thing, I think.
Sorry, friend. I can't.
Okay, good. 42 experience, awesome. And we gained the bear claw trap.
Would you? Get that.
Oops, okay. So here we can also see, in case you guys are new to the game, the auto pause functionality working, because I set the game to auto pause and stop party movement when a trap is discovered. And to me this is like crucial. I always have these options on in this kind of game, because otherwise I'll kill myself. So what is this? This one, Bear Claw Trap. Hazard AoE 10 to 15, piercing or crushing, immobilized for 6 seconds, and it targets reflex. And then we also have a Corrosive Claw Trap. 8 to 12 corrode, sickened. Ooh, nice. -5 constitution, -25% healing received. This one targets fortitude. I can put this here. I didn't really use a lot of traps in PoE1, but maybe on this one I will. And here we have a breastplate which has the same armor rating than what we currently have, except theirs is better. Okay, let's carry on.
Of course.
So now you should be free.
Ah, bless you, Lord. Would have been a sorry way to go. Caught up in a dead pirate's trap.
I agree.
It's just bats and stinking corpses in this cave. You find anyone else?
He gingerly sets its weight on his injured foot, grimacing. Yeah, we've got a campfire going on the beach.
Then I'll head that way myself. See you on the beach, Captain.
Captain, yeah. Oh, we leveled up. Oh. Oh, okay. Both of us leveled up. Okay, cool. So I think I'm gonna... Well, I usually leave the level ups for the next episode, so I can start fresh and just look over the options. I think for now, since it's so early in the episode and it's just the first level, I think we can do this now. And right now, I'll also take a chance to look over what's different between this game and the first one. So here we have active skills, and we also have passive skills. So alchemy deals with the natural and supernatural properties of plants, body parts and gemstones. It affects the use of all drugs, poisons and antidotes, generally increasing potency and duration of effect. Okay, so this could be cool because I think there are some powerful drugs in this game. Arcana covers knowledge of all things magical that do not deal with metaphysics. In combat it can be used to increase the power level of scrolls. Okay, so I'm guessing a wizard or a priest would like this. Athletics. Adventuring is tiring work. In addition to the hazards of mortal combat, adventurers have walls to climb, rivers to cross, and pits to leap over. Once per encounter, characters with athletics can use the second wind ability to recover lost health, so same thing as on PoE1. A higher athletics score increases the effect of second wind. In conversations and scripted interactions, athletics is used for physical feats like climbing, swimming, and jumping. I always like to have at least one character with high athletics, because of these reasons, and also because of the second wind. It's like an emergency heal. Explosives improves the accuracy, damage, and effectiveness of bombs, noisemakers, and similar devices. So this is new, and I think I'm gonna want to explore this. I don't know on whom, probably not my rogue, because my rogue I think is mostly gonna go for this. So mechanics. Traps and locks can be a problem for even the toughest adventurers, draining their resources and injuring or killing those who are unfortunate enough to trigger an unforeseen floor plate. And this is what nearly killed us in PoE1. The mechanic skill makes it easier to open locks and disable traps. Additionally, any character can use the mechanic skill to place traps of their own. The higher the mechanic skill, the more accurate the trap. In conversations and scripted interactions, mechanics can be used to activate or disable a variety of machines. Sleight of hand. Whether you want to lift a few coins from an unsuspecting mark or plant incriminating evidence, or worse, on an enemy. Ooh, can we plant like a grenade? That could be cool. Sleight of hand can get the job done without drawing suspicion. And then stealth allows characters of any class to attempt to avoid being seen or heard. It is used automatically whenever the character is in stealth mode. The higher the character's skill, the closer they can get to enemies before being detected. So the one cool thing about this is that there's also this thing of the party assist. And I'm not really sure how this works. I honestly doubt that the party will assist with their full score. I'm guessing it's gonna assist like with 50% or 25%, something like that. I'll have to investigate. And then we also have passive skills. So bluff, all but the most honest adventurers find it useful to stretch the truth on occasion. Unscrupulous denial, feigned ignorance, gross exaggeration, and bald-faced lying are all covered by this skill. I have 3. Jesus. Diplomacy can be used to negotiate rational and reasonable resolutions to difficult situations. It stresses patience, respect, and sensitivity, and may therefore be despised by the rough edges of Euron societies. History. A broad skill, history covers the commonly accepted narratives of Eora civilizations and how they came to be. As this skill draws from many sources, a measure of folklore has been woven into many stories. Okay. Insight. Conversations can be difficult to navigate, people may be evasive, lying, frightened, or preoccupied with other matters. Insight is used to emphasize with someone and understand their underlying emotions and motivations. I think in PoE1 this was covered by... oh god, why am I missing the word? Perception. Apparently they have a different thing here as well. Intimidate. Through physical imposition, wow. Raw intensity and overt threats, Intimidate allows the character to leave onlookers shaken and cowed. Though not everyone responds well to intimidation, it can be used as an effective tool of persuasion. Metaphysics, a young field of knowledge, metaphysics deals with animancy, Adra, the wheel, the in-between, the beyond, and all mysteries of the soul. Interesting. Religion covers both the theological concerns of Eora's various religions, as well as popular beliefs, saint cults, and religious organizations in the world. Streetwise covers the basic rules of survival one learns on the streets and back alleys of major cities. It includes urban readiness as well as appropriate etiquette for dealing with unsavory types. So a roguish thing, I believe. Yeah, am I getting like the full amount? Because I have 2 and I'm guessing that also has 2? Survival can be used in conversations and scripted interactions that involve wilderness challenges or specialized information about nature. Okay, so, from what I understand, passive skills are only used for dialogue. I don't think they're going to be used for anything else. And the active skills can actually come into play, you know, in the gameplay aspect of the game. So I'm a rogue, I'm going to put some points in mechanics because I need somebody to disarm traps. And I also like the sleight of hand and stealth. It's also cool that the active skill points and the passive skill points do not overlap. You always can choose one for the active and one for the passive. So I'm very high on bluff right now. My character was very honest in PoE1. Maybe it's not going to be the case here. I'm thinking probably streetwise because again I'm a rogue. Could make sense. Okay, I like that. And then for our ability trees, we can choose an ability for one class. So we can choose for either the ranger or the rogue. So let's see what we have. We have marked prey, which is cool. It will give us plus 10 accuracy against a marked target. Then we have... oh, cool. This is all Wait, it says self, but I think it's for the companion, or is it for both? No, it's only for the animal companion, okay. Resilient companion plus 2 armor rating, sounds cool as well. Ooh, vicious companion plus 15% damage and plus 2 penetration, also good. This doesn't matter for me. Arms bearer and a fast runner, okay. So this is mostly animal companion choices. And for the rogue, we have backstab, but this means being very close. By the way, what? Ah, from stealth or invisibility. Ah, okay. Because over here it just says against targets very close by, but no, you need to be stealthed or invisible. Okay. Defensive roll. Fast runner. And arms bearer. Okay. So I think I can either go for a defensive talent here in escape, or I can either go for marked prey or buff my animal companion. So I think I had some notes which I had left here on my little notebook. And I think I had vicious companion and resilient companion as something that I would want. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm gonna be using mostly it there for tanking purposes. So I should probably just give my boar vicious companion, or just make him tankier, right? I'm gonna go for tanky, because we're playing on the hardest difficulty setting, and I think this might come in handy. How much does this cost, by the way? Costs 1 bond. Okay. I think I'm gonna go for this, to make sure Mr. Piggy stays alive. Okay. And for it there, we also have our active skills, and I'm thinking on it there, I'm probably gonna go for athletics, because I always like to have somebody with athletics. And in terms of the passive skills, yeah, so you see here, my rogue has 3, but he's only contributing with 2, not 3. So it's some kind of percentage here. He has a lot of survival, so I could just continue going on the survival route. I guess, why not? Okay, so as for our abilities, on the fighter side we have Discipline Barrage, which would make it there aware for 15 seconds, and it also gives him concentration, which prevents interruption, and 50% of grades are converted to hits. Not bad. These passives are not particularly interesting, and if we go for the rogue side, kind of the same thing. So I'm gonna go for the Discipline Barrage here, because it also opens up some other options further ahead. That's gonna be my choice here. Okay, and Mr. Piggy does not need to level up, right? Yeah, I don't think so. Okay. Let's continue exploring. A crossbow and the Principi leather armor. I'm not sure if I should have gone for Vicious Companion, but, you know, time will tell. And hopefully there's also a way to respec if I need it. Okay. So what we have here are sea bats. No idea what this is. Let's make sure that there is the one engaging first, and Mr. Piggy can go ahead after him, and then I'll open up from stealth.
Wait, look there.
Okay, so we're fighting. There's 4 of these enemies, and the sea bats are weak versus slashing, which is awesome for us, and they only have 7 armor, which means that my arquebus can fully pierce this. What about this one? What? Oh, okay. The warbow has a lot of penetration as well. Jesus Christ. Okay, so let's melt this one, hopefully. With a nice shot from stealth. Cool, 58 damage. You guys are flanking. Let me start working on the ones in the back. Oh, they shoot. And I'm guessing that's corrode damage. Okay, good shot, good shot. Let's try to do it again. This time a crippling strike. And the cool thing about the wounding shot is that it leaves a dot as well. You can see this tree over here. That's the dot coming in. Okay, let's flank Mr. Piggy. You know what I'd like? I would like a light spell from Dungeons and Dragons is what I would like here, because it's very dark. Okay, we can speed this up slightly. Okay, good shot. Let's go for that one. Let's flank him. Can I knock this guy down? I think I can. Or actually, first increase your accuracy and then knock him down. What is this? Counters. Oh, and there's also the empower mechanic I need to go over. So, first of all, in terms of counters, a counter is an ability or effect that removes or prevents another category of effect when applied. There are two types of counters: inspirations and keywords. Inspirations are grouped by attributes, for example dexterity or perception, and automatically counter and remove or prevent the application of the corresponding groups of afflictions for that attribute. Afflictions may also be used in the same way to remove inspirations. So quick would be an inspiration, I guess. And keywords are descriptors like water, fire and frost. The relationship between keywords is two-way, so fire counters water and water counters fire. For example, a character is under the effect of a flame shield with a fire keyword. An enemy hits them with an overwhelming wave that has the keyword water. The full effects of the overwhelming wave are negated and the flame shield is removed. Okay, so that's an extra layer of complexity to the game. Level up, we just went over. Traps, we went over as well. And empower is also a very weird mechanic. Well, at least I'm not used to it yet, because you can use empower points, these points over here, and you can now empower your abilities or yourself. Once per fight, so only once per fight, you can use empower or an active ability to make it much stronger. And when they say much stronger, this is iffy. There's a lot to say about this, and I'm still not 100% sure on how it works. But there are some abilities that get a lot stronger than others. So something like magic missiles, which has a certain number of projectiles, I think empowering it increases the number of projectiles. There are other things that I think make it last longer or deal more damage, but it's not everything. This mechanic is very convoluted, trust me. Alternately, you can use empower on yourself to replenish a portion of your ability resources. So if you spend your ability points, you can empower yourself and you will get some more to use. To empower an ability, you can click on your action bar and then select the ability you want to empower. To restore resources, click and then click your character portrait or selection circle. And this is just showing the example I was talking about. This is a normal use of magic missiles. It throws like 4 projectiles, but if it's empowered, it throws something like 8, which is very cool. But it doesn't work like this for everything. You can only use empower once per fight and a limited number of times between rests. Resting at an inn or using food or drink while resting at other locations will restore all of the character's empower points. Okay, so I'm still not very sure how I should be using these. So just bear with me. Okay, we missed that with it there. It's unfortunate. Okay, good shot. We can move closer here. Wounding shot on this guy, because this one is gonna die right now. Yep. Go for a crippling strike. We're flanking. We can speed this up. And dead. He got blown up. Very nice, very nice. Okay. So on these fights, it makes me wonder if I really should have gone for the Vicious Companion for more damage, because as you just saw, Mr. Piggy wasn't really tanking anything. But at the same time, if he does get focused, I want to try and make sure that he stays alive as long as possible. So just to complement that, not only because I love Mr. Piggy and I want him to stay alive, but he also contributes in combat by dealing damage and taking the attention of one or more enemies, but also, and maybe more importantly, if your animal companion dies and you are playing a ranger, you will get the debuff Bonded Grief, which will make you, I think, less accurate, and it's just a debuff on your character which you want to avoid at all times. The waters here glow an eerie blue and the cave glistens with reflected light. You can just make out an opening in the cavern wall to the northwest, where the water flows onward. The tunnel seems to extend a short distance before turning sharply, but you cannot see where it leads. This is athletics? Yeah. So let's send someone to scout ahead for air pockets. Naturally, we're gonna send Eder because he has 2 points in athletics. Good. Eder sets out a good pace, cutting through the water with confident strokes. Nearly to the far side of the tunnel, Eder finds a space to come up for air. With a place to rest along the way, the swim should be more manageable. Oh, I think we decreased the difficulty of this check. Even with one, if we had the Grieving Mother, she would just drown, like right here, on the shallow pot, on the shallow portion. Let's swim through. I mean, I have to go. Air pockets provide a much-needed reprieve as you make your way through the cramped waterway. You make short work of the journey. You come up into what appears to be another, smaller cavern, where sunlight streams in from an opening in the stone. Oh. Where am I? Oh, I'm on the same spot. Interesting. Oh. Ah, okay. So this just goes from here to there. Okay, because this area was inaccessible before. Okay, Vilarius Rest. Just gonna drink some coffee. Another ghost and possibly a treasure. A foul, briny stench rises from the sodden crates, their contents rotten. Maybe not.
Told him not to bring that thing in there. Didn't like the look of it one bit. But no one daren't speak poor of his precious animancy tech.
Okay. The ghostly figure paces the length of the small outcropping with quick, deliberate steps, muttering to herself all the while. Her long cape flaps with the wind that blows from the in-between. Let's just look over the in-between here. The in-between refers to the shadow world that souls briefly wander after death on their way to the beyond. It has been described as a hazy landscape, empty but for the glow of other souls, Adra, and Watchers. This is the space that Watchers peer into when they observe and speak to lost souls and soul fragments. Even the gods cannot reach it. And Animancy, for someone that did not play Pillars of Eternity 1, is the science of soul manipulation, a field both controversial and relatively new, banned in some nations like Adir, but permitted in other countries like Dirwood and the Valiant Republics.
Special gift from his contact, he says. Now it's acting all weird. Gives me the damn creeps. You feel it too, right? Like it's looking straight through you?
She turns piercing purple eyes on you. She shakes her head and resumes her pacing.
Came out here to get away. Couldn't stand it staring at me anymore. Then... Oh, my memory's fuzzy. Anyway, you want a Benwifts? Haven't seen you for, but he's been bringing all sort of new folks on lately. Can't hardly keep track.
Ah, okay, so she was one of the pirates that were attacking us. Benwith was their captain. Okay, let's use the perception check here. Looks like the rocks here did a number on your boat.
I think I remember something about a boat. Yeah, and some screaming.
I bet.
Look, maybe we should stick together. Feels right, you know? Well, with you being the only other thing around and all. I can give you a hand with, spirity stuff.
Okay. No kidding, I've always wanted a ghost friend. Okay, sure. Stay with me, I'll find a way to return to the wheel.
I tell you, mate, I'd take anything over this endless grey. Even Rimagon's frosty ass crack.
So Rimmergand is one of my favorite gods in the world of Iora. He is the god of entropy, cold, winter, bad luck, famine, and natural disasters. So he's just a stand-up guy. Manifests as a giant albino aurochs, moving amidst a great blizzard, and in the plodding footsteps of Rimmergand come death and disintegration. The spirit tries to give you a friendly pat on the shoulder, but her hand passes right through you. Unperturbed, she grins and walks along behind you. Okay. So we got a ghost friend. And I think I am gonna lower a little bit the sound of the music. Because sometimes I'm speaking and it feels like it's getting in the way. Okay, so what we have here? We have a pistol, stun bombs, and some more healing. Okay. So this was just to pick up the ghost and these small supplies, I guess? So let's swim through. We're on the other side, and I think the only way for us to go is back from where we came, right? Because we've been here. That's where we fought the construct and the reverends and skeletons and all that. I don't know if I've checked out this area. I think I did, because this one is opened. Yeah. Okay, well, let's see if we've picked up all of our companions. Yeah, I think this means that everything is done, I guess. I found Irena, Biodol, Chitupek, Eld Engrim. Okay. Let's see what they say.
I'll boil up some water. We'll have a spy at that leg of yours.
Should have seen me with that barrel, Angrim. I showed it was boss.
Magran gives some of us simpler trials than others.
Is the boat gonna be okay?
Good news, Captain. I found some supplies must have washed ashore.
Cool.
Even better. I've located some spirits. The mundane kind, I mean. Nothing that requires your talents, Watcher.
His eyes twitch and twinkle in delight. Have you seen any other survivors?
Not a one. We've come away from this one limping, Captain. But we live to see the next battle through.
Okay, so I think this means that we have everybody rounded up. What do you think we should do now?
It's just the lot of us now, Captain. You'd best head into town, see about supplies and repairs. I'll keep an eye on the ship.
Oh, there's a town here. Do you know anything about this island?
Kithriv here. I ken that much. Means we're a sight better off than we could be.
So Kith. The word Kith is used to describe the dominant civilized races of Iora, including humans, Almawa, dwarves, elves, Orlans, and godlike. So pretty much all of the races we can choose from.
Of course, it's surely pirate territory. They have a number of bolt holes out this way. I'd nae be surprised if that cave up north is one of them. Could be they lie in wait for us even as we speak.
I've cleared it out. A twinkle in his eye, bellies his foreboding tone. Okay, farewell. So you guys just stay there and I'm gonna go to town, is that it? The Deadfire Archipelago. Oh, what is this? The Forgotten Sanctum has been installed. You will automatically begin the first quest of this adventure when you receive a visitor upon the high seas after having progressed far enough through Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire to access the Forgotten Sanctum. Okay, so it's some kind of DLC. Seeker, Slayer, Survivor has been installed. You will automatically begin the first quest of this adventure when the steward contacts you after you have progressed far enough, blah blah blah, to access Kazuari. Alright. And here we can travel through the island we're on and pick up some supplies. In this case we picked up ale. This I think you can only pick up while you are on the boat. And what is this? In the distance you see a simple wagon. The angle at which it rests on the road, one side jutting above the other, suggests that it has been damaged or disabled. Even from your vantage you can make out kith milling around it. Okay, so you can sneak closer to observe, or you can approach close openly. Let's sneak to make sure it's not bandits. As you near the cart, you make out a group of red-satin pilgrims in rough spun linens and cottons. A single draft horse stamps at the ground impatiently as two of the pilgrims argue over the front right wheel, which seems hopelessly stuck in the mud. Okay, so I think it's safe to approach openly here. One of the pilgrims notices you. Her step back draws the attention of the others, and the man in well-worn gambeson steps forward. The weight of deep concern hangs on his face. Did the dreams bring you here as well? The other pilgrims look to you with a mix of apprehension and hope. Dreams? We are farmers, come from Red Ceres to work the colony fields here. We're believers, all to the one, in the light of Eothas. The other pilgrims nod fervently in agreement. A woman with a smiling baby lifts the infant's hand to wave. We've been having dreams. 3 stars sailing through the sky, piercing the black of a storm cloud. Okay. Figured it must be him, Eothas, calling to us, so we came here, to the place we saw in our dreams. The pilgrims look around, matching their sleeping memory to the present. We saw the giant pass, with 3 stars on his brow, but he sighs and gestures to the wagon stuck in the mud. Sad to say we could not follow him. Wheel stuck as stuck gets. None of us are strong enough to lift that corner up to get something under it. More than one of us tries and we just get in each other's way. The other pilgrims nod and stretch, suddenly remembering their aching bodies. Okay. So we can threaten them by using the Intimidate skill to hand over whatever valuables you've got, or you'll be meeting Eothas sooner than you thought. Nah, we're not that kind of group. Let me take a look. A brief inspection reveals that the wagon is undamaged, but the wheel is stuck fast in the mud. We have some wood, the old man says as he gestures to the back of the wagon. If we can get the wheel up, we can slide that beneath it. Inside the wagon you see several planks of wood. A small box of valuables sits to the side. One of the youngest Dawn Stars looks at you, eyes wide. Reckon you can lift it? Okay, and we have 2 interesting options here. The first of which is Sleight of Hand, to attempt to steal the strongbox. And we also have a might check, and I think that one we can pass easily because we are at max might. We can attempt to lift the corner of the wagon. Now, there is something new to Pillars of Eternity 2, which I am not sure that I like. Because I think I've seen it in this event before, and maybe one other. I don't know how it plays out throughout the rest of the game. But you have, not only do you have reputation with the world, you also have reputation with your companions. So one of the things that I would try to do when I was testing this out, since I was playing a rogue, I would naturally use Sleight of Hand to attempt to steal the strongbox. Is that a good thing to do? No, of course not. But it's kind of thematic with being a rogue. However, if you do that, your reputation with it there will go down. Because it doesn't like people doing bad stuff. And I understand them. And since I don't want to ruin the reputation with my companions, I'm gonna have to start playing as a good guy, and I cannot use these checks to steal or murder or something like that against innocent people in these book events. So we're just gonna attempt to lift the corner of the wagon. And we're gonna use myself to do it. And the check was apparently 15. You square yourself to the wagon's corner, squat deep, and wrest the wheel from the mud with a grunt. A young Dawnstar stands in shock for a moment, but reacts in time to thrust a thick board beneath the wheel. It takes the better part of an hour to lay down a safe path for the wagon to roll free of the mud. You and the Dawnstars you've roped into your work glisten with sweat, but they laugh happily, singing songs of praise for Eothas. So the result here is 2 hours have passed, but we did help them out. Smiling, their leader presses a small pouch of coins into your hand. We appreciate the help. Without you, who knows how long we would have been stranded out here. They begin to prepare their wagons as you take your leave. We gained 15 silver fannings, which I think apparently are 6 copper pieces, equivalent. And the item was put into your stash. Maybe this is the item or something different? The old man calls out to you as you go. Take care of yourself and your soul, traveler. Whether you came for Eothas or not, we know in our hearts that he has come for us. Yeah, maybe not in the way you want, man. So I want to check something here, because this refers to what I was talking about. Game systems, maybe? Reputation. Yeah, there you go. So we can press a button in the lower center of the screen or use the C key to bring up the character sheet. Select the reputation tab to view your character's earned faction and community reputations. Factions will blah blah blah. Okay, so how can we see this? Reputations. So this I just saw. Then there's the world map and reputation. Relationship, Cordampt and Eder. So here we can see Eder's personality. So he hates animal cruelty. Eder has a negative reaction to people who are cruel or callous toward animals. Anti-Eothasians, Eder does not respond well to criticism or hostility toward the followers of Eothas. Is anti-Leaden Key. Eder despises the Leaden Key and the violence and manipulation for which it is responsible. He appreciates kindness and sentimentality towards animals of all kinds. This is why I also love Eder. He's pro-Eothasians, like we just saw. He supports followers of Eothas. He's light-hearted, so he appreciates jokes and levity in life, even in the darkest of circumstances. So he doesn't like the Leaden Key. And he is traditional. He respects and enjoys cultural traditions and believes they are worthwhile to observe and practice. So I was trying to see if I had something here that would be in reference of this encounter we just had, but I guess not. If you do steal, then you will get a negative point here. Children of Dawnstars. Not to be confused with supernatural manifestations of Eothas, the Children of Dawnstars are red-servant followers of Eothas who have traveled to the Deadfire archipelago as migrant workers in the decades following the Saints' War. Lacking colonies of their own, Dawnstar can often be found in the employ of the Valiant Trading Company or Royal Deadfire Company. And I think we have 3 reputation here because we helped them out? Maybe? What is this? I can export my party. What? Oh. This could be cool for like when we finish the game to just export this so anybody can see what we chose along the way. Exported characters. Okay. These are our records. Summary. Okay. Let's just carry on. I also want to see if we did get an item here. But no, the item was just money. This, I'm guessing, is the town they were talking about, Port Maje. There's also a burial site. Huana tribes traditionally heap their dead onto pyres or give their bodies to the deep sea, but mounds like these suggest that rangas of honor, wealth and distinction were buried nearby. A tomb rises from the earth beneath you, before you. Its stone exterior is well wrought and decorated with reliefs of Tangaloa and Negati. It likely houses the body of someone important to a local Huana tribe. Oh god, a lot of text. Tangaloa. Many Huana worship Berath as Rikuhu, the twin-heel god that represents the cyclic connection between overworld and underworld, life and death. Rikuhu is often depicted with the two constituent heels, Kohopa, representing the overworld and life, and Tangaloa, who represents underworld and death, devouring one another by the tail. Like Ouroboros? In Huana folklore, Kohopa and Tangaloa were born before time existed, and each had an insatiable appetite. They began to devour all living things, and with each thing they devoured, they became larger. When there were no living things left to eat, and the two eels were so enormous as to encompass all existence, they began to devour one another. Thus, all beings are perpetually passing through the digestive tracts of the two eels. When one reaches the end, it passes through the mouth of the next eel, the gateway to or from the underworld, and the next stage of existence begins. The notion of time is merely one's perception of the digestive process. What the hell? This is so strange. And Negati. Negati is a Huana trickster goddess with a humanoid body and the head of an anglerfish, what the hell, who is thought to lure mariners either into or out of trouble at her whim. They often worship her as Ondra, making the Huana the only people that believe Ondra has a physical manifestation. Okay, so let's search the location. 2 hours have passed, you take some time to search the burial site and find an offering of coins near the remains. Okay, let's keep searching. 2 more hours, you continue poking about the burial site for anything useful and find a wardstone nestled among the offerings. You have gained an item. What is this? A friendly target plus 5 radius from caster, immunity to Sigil of Darkness attacks. I have no idea what this means. 4 more hours and you find a charming trinket wrapped in dry grasses. Oh, worth it. 2 more hours and find nothing of value. 3 more hours. We've gained a normal sword. Does this end ever? We gain 4 agate. You've rummaged through the whole burial site. There's nothing left but the dead. Okay. So a bunch of time passed. And that's kind of all we got. Just want to check the surroundings here before going into Port Maje. So this is a combat encounter of some sort? Yeah. A solitary rice farm. It looks bountiful enough to welcome trade. Oh, it's literally a trader. Okay. Inns. Inns serve multiple purposes and can be found throughout the Deadfire. At any inn, you can access a store, rent a room, recruit adventurers and crew members, retrain characters and manage your party. Certain rooms will give a resting bonus that applies to the entire party and lasts until your party rests again. Same as PoE1. Recruiting an adventurer goes through the full character creation process. The cost of the adventurer increases with the level you recruit them at. Retraining a character resets them to level 1 and allows you to go through any level ups they had accumulated. Good to know. So we can retrain them at inns. So same thing as PoE1 as well. Ooh, the footprints of Eothas. Okay, so this I think is a combat encounter. So now I'm guessing we're just gonna go into Port Maje. There were boats going around as well. Port Maje Arbor, Deep Spring, 2828. Okay, so the idea here is that we are trying to find a way to repair our boat.
What if the giant comes this way?
Please, everyone stay calm.
I like his voice. The man at the center of attention appears to be fielding inquiries from both the gaggle of townsfolk gathered around the platform and the rather severe-looking Omawa woman standing just beside him.
Please, everyone remain calm. I assure you I will do everything in my power to get you the answers you need. Our friends among the Huana.
So the Huana are a tribal civilization primarily comprised of Highland Omawa, which has thrived in the Deadfire archipelago for thousands of years. Though largely decentralized, the Huana share common values steeped in mythology and a sense of guardianship over the islands they call home. And this is Governor Clario.
have offered you hospitality and safety from the storms.
Storm Speaker Ikawa. The Aumaua woman folds her arms.
Yes, yes. I think we are all keenly aware of the debt of gratitude we owe to the...
I have personally seen to the safety of your homes. Now you will do the same for our families.
What about our families?
What about the ships? How are we supposed to feed ourselves?
If everyone would...
I actually like the voices they use in the game. And it also allows me to drink coffee while they're speaking. So it doesn't get cold like in PoE1. As Clarios' gaze sweeps across the crowd, it falls upon you, where it remains. A few more heads turn to see what has caught the governor's attention.
It's one of the pirates.
What? No, it's not. At this alarmed cry, the whole of the crowd turns to regard you. A startled, expectant hush falls upon the gathered throng. I'm not a pirate.
Everyone stay calm. I think it's clear our guest is nothing of the sort.
Okay, good.
2 of my guards reported a ship flying deer wooden colors, fallen prey to a private vessel. That would be
There we
your
go.
ship, I assume.
Yes. The crowd quiets somewhat at that, though you still find yourself the target of a few glares.
That would make him lucky. Your own vessels do not usually fare so well.
The woman regards you with a bland curiosity.
Quite.
I just need some repairs and I'll be on my way.
Per complanca, everyone, forgive me. I believe this matter requires my attention. You have my word that I will keep you apprised of any changes.
So he kind of just diverted this entire conversation into this particular issue. Very politician-like. Per complanca, a Valian term meaning literally for mercy or for little mercy, which is taken as, come on now.
Especially you, Mr. Ikawa.
Do not flatter me with Valian titles. You are distracted with your newcomer and wish me gone. But I will not go far, Governor Clario.
Once the crown jewel of the southern seas, Old Valia is now the crumbled remnants of an empire of warring merchant nations. Counting many humans and dwarves among their ranks, the Old Valian countries are still forces to be reckoned with and are proud of their rich cultural heritage. The southernmost of the old empires, Old Valia suffered a similar fate to their northern neighbors, the Adirans, in losing their most prosperous colonial territories, the Valian republics. Many Old Valians in the Deadfire archipelago are associated with the Principis and Patrena, a vast coalition of pirates.
Geralde, as for you, stranger, let us speak at my estate. We'll discuss your predicament.
Predicament. Gelarde, a Valian expression of approval that roughly translates to brave or defiant. Okay. Quest updated, so seeking out a means of repairing our ship means speaking with Governor Clario. Okay. And I think this will be a nice spot for us to end this episode. We have this entire area to explore. It's actually not that big of an area, but there are some things that I want to do here before we go any further. So, we're gonna finish this episode. On the next one, we will explore the town of Port Maje and possibly some more of this island. So, I hope you guys are enjoying this, and as always, thank you so much for being here in the channel with me, watching some Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, leave a comment below. If you are enjoying the content, consider subscribing for more. There's videos coming out every single day, and it's also an easy and free way to support the channel. I hope to see you all in the next episode, and until then, stay safe everyone.